All right, so get ready for this deep dive because we're going to uncover something pretty fascinating.
Oh, this is going to be good.
I know, right? So you're interested in Wonder Woman.
Of course. Who isn't?
Well, get this.
What?
We're also going to be diving into the world of the polygraph machine.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh. That's kind of an odd pairing, don't you think? At first, I mean.
it does. It does. But here's the mind-blowing part. Ready for this?
Okay.
Both were invented by the same person.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah. William Moulton Marston.
No way.
Yeah. And we're going to be looking at excerpts from an article about this.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it's a wild ride.
I bet. So, like, how is that even possible? I mean, Wonder Woman and a lie detector.
Well, that's what we're going to find out. What's so intriguing about Marston is how his own beliefs really influence both of these creations. So to truly understand Wonder Woman and the polygraph, we first need to understand the man behind them.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about Wonder Woman. You know, the iconic superhero.
Yeah, with the lasso and the bulletproof bracelet.
Yes, exactly.
God, who doesn't love that?
I know, it's so cool. But she wasn't just some, like, random idea. Marston created her in the 1940s with a very specific goal in mind.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
What was it?
He wanted a female superhero
Hmm.
who represented love, peace, and truth.
Oh, wow. So she's like the ultimate symbol of, like, good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This was inspired by the feminist movement, which
Mhm.
was really gaining momentum at the time. Marston wanted to challenge those traditional ideas about women's roles
Yeah.
that were so prevalent back then.
I can see that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
But it is.
So he was using a comic book character to make a statement about society.
It seems like it.
That's pretty ahead of his time, don't you think?
Absolutely. This was the 1940s, right?
Yeah.
The dominant image of women in media, I mean, it was often like the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But Marston envisioned a woman who was strong, independent, and capable of, like, standing up for what she believed in.
Okay, so that explains the concept. But what about her design? Everything about Wonder Woman seems so deliberate. Like her lasso of truth.
Uh-huh.
It forces people to be honest. Which seems like a big deal for Marston, especially considering his other invention.
It's almost like he's foreshadowing the polygraph, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the symbolism goes even deeper.
Oh, tell me more.
Okay, so her tiara signifies that she's a princess of the Amazons.
Right.
These fierce warrior women
Uh-huh.
who lived in a society, like, free from patriarchal control. It's a direct contrast to the helpless female characters that were so common in the media at that time.
Wait, so he's contrasting Wonder Woman's world with the real world?
Exactly.
That's really clever.
Yeah, it's like, he's making a statement about the society he wanted to see.
That's pretty cool.
Right.
Okay, so we've got the lasso, the tiara, but what about those bulletproof bracelets?
Oh, yeah, those are awesome.
They're not just about physical protection.
No, they're not. They symbolize deflecting harm
Yeah.
and protecting others.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. So it's about resilience.
Yeah, physical and emotional, something Marston wanted to emphasize, I think.
So it's like a deeper meaning, not just like, oh, they look cool.
Exactly.
Okay, so the lasso represents truth.
Yeah.
The tiara represents female power.
Yep.
What about those classic red, gold, and blue colors?
Oh, yeah, the costume. There has to be a reason for that, right?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, why those specific colors?
Of course. They're a direct link to truth, justice, and the American way, very much reflecting the era she was created in.
Right, okay. That makes sense. But Wonder Woman hasn't stayed frozen in time, has she?
No, she hasn't.
I mean, she's been around for decades and still feels relevant today.
That's right. You probably noticed how she's evolved over the years to reflect current issues,
Yeah.
always staying connected to each new generation.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And that speaks volumes, I think, about her enduring appeal and the power of her message.
So we've got this incredible superhero fighting for truth and justice. Now let's talk about Marston's other invention, the polygraph.
All right, let's do it.
It seems like a complete shift, but maybe not.
Not really. Remember how Wonder Woman's all about truth?
Right.
Well, the polygraph was Marston's attempt to get to the truth using science.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So how does it actually work? Does it like read your mind or something?
Well, not quite mind reading, but it's based on the idea that our bodies react in specific ways when we lie. The polygraph measures physiological responses like heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, and sweating.
Oh, wow. So it's like our bodies are betraying us, even if we try to keep a straight face.
Exactly. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of creepy, but also kind of cool.
Marston was really captivated by this whole idea that these like subtle physiological changes could reveal what a person might be trying to hide. His early experiments were pretty basic, but they showed him a connection between a person's physiological responses and potential deception.
Right.
He would like observe reactions to uncomfortable questions and notice spikes in those responses, and that kind of led him down this path.
So from those early observations, the polygraph was born. And I'm
Exactly.
guessing it's still used today.
Oh, you bet. It's used in criminal investigations, employment screenings, even some government agencies. It's become this tool for trying to get to the bottom of things, but there's a big debate surrounding its accuracy.
Right, because, like, isn't it possible for people to beat the polygraph? I mean, it's not foolproof.
Right. That's a big part of the controversy. There are strong arguments on both sides. Some believe it's a valuable tool, especially in certain situations, but others are very critical, arguing that it's unreliable and can lead to false positives, which could have serious consequences for innocent people.
That's a lot more complicated than I initially thought. So there's, like, no easy answer.
No, not really. It depends who you talk to.
Okay, so we've got this superhero fighting for truth and justice, and this machine trying to detect lies. And they both came from the same guy. It's almost like these two, like, seemingly separate inventions are two sides of the same coin, both reflecting Marston's fascination with truth.
It's an intriguing connection, isn't it? And it makes you wonder about the man himself, William Moulton Marston. Clearly a brilliant guy.
Right.
Yeah. But what else can you tell me about him?
Well, from what I've gathered, he was a fascinating mix of psychologist, inventor, A&D, comic book creator.
Wow, that's quite the combo. Not something you see every day.
You're right about that. He was definitely a complex and unconventional figure. Not only was he into comic books, but he was also deeply interested in psychology and human behavior.
Uh-huh.
And you could see how his personal beliefs about feminism, truth, and justice are woven into both Wonder Woman and the purpose of the polygraph.
Yeah, it's like he took his passions and turned them into like tangible things that could impact the world.
That's pretty amazing, don't you think?
It is remarkable. He was a visionary in many ways. And it gets even more mind-blowing when you directly compare the lasso and the polygraph.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the connection? They seem so different.
Well, think about it. They're both tools aimed at uncovering hidden truths. The lasso compels honesty through magic, I suppose.
Yeah.
But the polygraph, on the other hand, tries to achieve the same goal through a scientific approach. But at their core, the goal is the same, to reveal what's truly going on.
Whoa, you're right. It's like the lasso is like a symbolic polygraph.
Precisely. It's a perfect representation of Marston's fascination with truth and deception and how those concepts can play out in very different ways.
I'm seeing Wonder Woman in a whole new light now. It's amazing how much depth there is to her character.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And how much she reflects Marston's own worldview.
Absolutely. And speaking of Wonder Woman's impact, let's move on to explore just how influential she's become, not just in the world of comics, but in culture as a whole.
Okay, so we've talked about how Wonder Woman was created to, like, challenge the norms of her time.
Right.
But how has she continued to be relevant over the decades? I mean, you see her everywhere now, not just in comics anymore.
Well, I think that's a testament to her enduring power. As a symbol, I mean,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman has transcended like the comic book page to become a cultural icon.
Yeah. She's definitely more than just a comic book character.
Yeah, she's recognized globally for what she represents.
Okay, so what exactly does she represent to people? I know she's a symbol of female empowerment, but what does that actually mean in a practical sense?
Well, think about it. For decades, Wonder Woman has been fighting for truth, justice, and equality.
Yeah.
Even before those things were like mainstream ideas,
Yeah.
She embodies strength and compassion, challenging traditional gender roles, and inspiring generations of women to reach their full potential.
So she's not just about physical strength, right?
Right.
It's also about standing up for what you believe in
Mm-hmm.
and fighting for a better world.
Exactly. It's about challenging the status quo and
Yeah.
advocating for positive change. And I think that resonates with people from like all walks of life.
And her intelligence and diplomacy are often overlooked.
Yeah, you're right.
She's a warrior, yes,
Yeah.
but she's also a leader, a thinker, and a symbol of hope.
Right. She's often depicted using her words and her wisdom just as effectively as her lasso or bracelets.
You know what? You're right. I always thought of her as this, like, warrior princess, But she's so much more than that.
She
It's
is.
kind of amazing how one character can embody so much.
It is. And it all goes back to Marston's vision, his belief that women could be just as powerful and influential as men.
Right.
He intentionally created like a role model, someone who could inspire girls and women to break free from societal limitations.
And I mean, from what we see today, he definitely achieved that.
He
I
did.
mean, her image is everywhere. On clothing, toys, in movies,
Hmm.
even in protests and social movements. It's like she's become this universal symbol of female strength that transcends language and culture.
And that's a powerful statement, I think, about the impact of Marston's creation.
Yeah.
Remember, Wonder Woman was born in a time when women's role were much more narrowly defined.
Right.
Yet she defied those expectations and continues to do so today.
Yeah.
She's a constant reminder that we can, challenge the status quo, fight for what we believe in, and make a difference in the world.
It's incredible, isn't it, how Marston's beliefs and vision continue to have this, ripple effect decades later.
It is.
But before we move on, I think it's important to acknowledge something.
Okay.
We've been talking about these two incredible creations,
Yeah.
but we haven't really touched on the fact that the polygraph,
Uh-huh.
in particular, is pretty controversial. I mean, it's often portrayed in media as this, foolproof lie detector. But is that really accurate?
That's a great point. It's important to remember that the polygraph is not without its critics. While it's used in certain contexts, there are many who question its reliability and accuracy.
Yeah, how can a machine really tell if you're lying?
Right.
It seems like there could be a lot of room for error.
There is. Remember, the polygraph measures physiological responses,
Right.
which can be influenced by a whole range of factors, not just deception. Things like anxiety, nervousness, fear,
Oh.
even certain medical conditions can affect those readings.
Yeah.
So this is why the results can be open to interpretation.
Yeah.
And why there's so much debate about its validity.
So someone could be telling the truth but still fail a polygraph test.
Right.
That seems really unfair.
That's the concern of many critics.
Yeah.
They argue that relying too heavily on polygraph results could potentially lead to false accusations or miscarriages of justice.
That's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
So if it's so controversial,
Yeah.
why is it still used at all?
That's where it gets complicated.
Yeah.
Proponents of the polygraph argue that it can be a useful tool in certain situations, particularly when used as part of a larger investigation or assessment.
Okay.
They believe it can help to elicit confessions or narrow down suspects.
So it's more of an investigative aid than a definitive truth teller.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that the science behind the polygraph is constantly evolving.
Okay.
There's ongoing research to improve its accuracy and address the ethical concerns surrounding its use.
That makes sense. It's like any tool. It can be used responsibly or irresponsibly.
Right. And that brings us back to William Moulton Marston,
Yeah.
the man who, in a way, gave us both the symbol of truth and the tool meant to uncover it. It's a fascinating juxtaposition, wouldn't you say?
Totally. I mean, on the one hand, you have this iconic superhero who embodies honesty and integrity. And on the other, you have this machine that's designed to expose deception.
Uh-huh.
It's like two sides of the same coin, reflecting Marston's own fascination with the concept of truth.
Precisely. And it's a reminder that even seemingly simple things can have, hidden depths and unexpected connections.
That's what I love about these deep dives. We start with one topic and end up uncovering a whole web of interconnected ideas.
It's the thrill of discovery, isn't it? And speaking of discoveries,
Yeah.
we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've explored Wonder Woman's origins, her symbolism, her evolution over time, the fascinating world of the polygraph, and even delved into the mind of their creator, William Moulton Marston.
It's amazing how much we've learned. But before we wrap things up, I think it's important to address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
We've talked about Marston's fascination with truth, but we haven't really talked about the ethical implications of both his creations.
That's an important point.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about how those questions, connect back to Marston's own beliefs about truth and justice.
Right.
He obviously saw both Wonder Woman and the polygraph as, tools for good, but they both have the potential to be misused, right?
Absolutely. Think about Wonder Woman's lasso, for example.
Uh-huh.
It compels people to tell the truth. But what happens when that truth is used for harmful purposes?
Oh, yeah.
Or when someone's forced to reveal something they would rather keep private.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It raises questions about consent
Yeah.
and the ethics of forcing someone to reveal their secrets,
Yeah.
even if it's in the name of justice.
Exactly. And the polygraph has like similar ethical dilemmas.
Uh-huh.
It's supposed to help separate truth from lies, but what if the results are inaccurate or misinterpreted,
Right.
That could lead to innocent people being wrongly accused or punished.
It makes you realize that truth and justice aren't always so black and white. There are
Yeah,
so many gray areas and potential for, like, unintended consequences.
there are. That's why it's so important to think critically about these issues, I think,
Yeah.
and consider the different perspectives involved.
Right.
Marston's creations might seem like, simple entertainment or tools,
Yeah.
but they actually touch on some really complex and important themes.
So it's not just about Wonder Woman kicking bad guy butt or the polygraph catching liars.
Not at all. They're both reflections of like our own human struggles with truth, deception,
Mm-hmm.
and the pursuit of a just society.
Mm-hmm.
And those struggles are something we're still grappling with today.
What's really fascinating to me is how Marston, back in the 1940s,
Mm-hmm.
was already exploring these ideas through his work. It's like he was ahead of his time in so many ways.
He was a visionary, that's for sure. And his legacy continues to spark conversations
Yeah.
and challenge us to think deeply about these important issues.
I have to admit, like, I started this deep dive just thinking about Wonder Woman and, the cool things she can do.
Yeah.
I never imagined we'd end up talking about ethics and the
Mhm.
complexities of truth and justice.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? We start with one thing
Yeah.
and end up uncovering a whole web of interconnected ideas. And hopefully it encourages us to keep questioning, keep learning, and keep exploring those connections in the world around us.
I know I'll never look at Wonder Woman or the polygraph the same way again. This has been an amazing deep dive, full of surprises and insights. What's like one big takeaway you hope our listener walks away with today?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd say it's the reminder that even things that seem completely different can be connected in surprising ways.
Oh, okay.
Just like Wonder Woman and the polygraph, there are hidden links and unexpected relationships all around us, just waiting to be discovered.
So to our listener out there, here's your challenge.
All right, bring it on.
What seemingly unrelated things in your world might be connected in ways you never imagined? Could it be like a hobby and a historical event,
Ooh, interesting.
a scientific discovery and a song, or even like two people you know? Let your curiosity run wild and see what you uncover.
Have fun with it.
And if you find something cool, share it with us on social media.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about it.
We would. Until next time, keep on diving.